Okay, there is a coffee break, so sorry if you hear some background noise, but I have a new guest. What's your name and what brings you to JCON?
So Steve Poole came by air. No, I'm doing a talk about how to design Java APIs in a modern way.
Okay, in a modern way, what should I think about modern way?
So historically, we've taught people to follow the sorts of API standards design thoughts that were around before Java started. So like Solid and things like that. And if you look at AWT specifically, as a really good example of we have interfaces and abstract classes and concrete methods and concrete classes and things like that. And they were reasonably good ideas when they were created. But since then, we've moved on and we now have streams and we have records and sealed interfaces and a whole bunch of stuff that, if you use them in the right way, give you a much more flexible and reliable API that you can continue to extend. Because one of the scary things is that if you're a follower of a thing called SEMVer, semantic versioning, the three, okay, the idea is that that's a signal to your users as to whether things are going to change. So you have 3 points. One, the lowest one says, I'm just fixing bugs. Another one says, here's a new feature or modify. And the top one says, hey, there could be a breaking change. Unfortunately, when you look at the stats from Maven Central, it tells you that it doesn't matter what changes, whether it's the first, the second, third, there's likely to be a breaking change. It's like 30% chance every time. And so that means that developers don't understand how to write evolving APIs. And so I'm here to talk about a way of using sealed classes and just different design patterns to give you another way of thinking about how to do this. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm also going to tweak their nose a bit about what they know about how the Java works, because what I've also discovered doing this is that lots of people don't realize some of the edges and they get bitten.
Okay, the corner cases, as they call them. It's very interesting that you say a lot has changed. Java has changed a lot. What was your first Java version?
0.99a, I think.
So let's conclude you were there from the start, 30 years of Java?
Yeah, pretty much. I wasn't in the IBM Java team at the very first day, though I was working with them. So a few months after the IBM Java team had started, I joined. So worked there, and my very first thing was to work on a thing called AS400. And so my claim to fame is I produced the very first 64-bit JVM that was compliant. And then after that, I was running the Java team on and off in various ways for years, working for a team that did Java on 22 different platforms. So
that's a nice list. What is a few of the most important changes? What happened in Java?
From a language point of view, obviously we've got virtual threads now. That's going to be interesting to see how that pans out, but that's obviously a big thing. But from an API point of view, from a general stuff, it's got to be the streams, it's got to be the lambdas. I mean, those sorts of things. And then I like all the little language tweaks that have gone through. But streams and lambdas, I think, just makes it a completely different environment. You can write code and do things in a much more optimal way than you could ever do before.
And then you have these new stream gatherers that appeared, I think in 24, 25, I don't know exactly when. So it proves that still something which was already a major change cannot even be further improved.
Yes, that's true. And what happens, history shows this, is that you put out something, you think you've got it right, and then people use it. And then you find that there are different use cases than you expected, or there are performance characteristics. Or in the example, I think, with the gatherers, is that the people get very confused how to use streams, and they ended up with a bunch of ways of writing them that were not particularly optimal. So I think I really like the fact that the Java team learn from these things and go, hey, we can fix that for you. We can solve problems that you've come across that we perhaps weren't aware of, or maybe we did, but we didn't think was high priority. And absolutely, it continues to evolve. I really don't see it changing. Yeah.
Is that also why these preview features are so important, that they can be used, but you should not use them in production yet?
Yeah, you should try them out. You shouldn't ignore them. You should certainly use them and give feedback. I think if you feedback to the Java team what you think of this stuff, and there are enough people out, the Java team, the DevRel team they've got there's a lot of people, feedback your views on this stuff. I think it's, given that the release train process they have, it's exactly right to say we're giving a preview, and then it may change tomorrow. It may go in production. I think it's a perfect way of getting to use this, provided, of course, you're willing to use the next version. Yeah.
Yeah, you should keep track of the versions and always jump to the latest one. What are you looking forward to?
Oh, in Java? I'm not sure I'm keeping track of what's going on. I mean, there's just so much stuff coming out. What am I looking forward to? No, the gathering stuff I was keeping an eye on. So that's the next thing I really want to play with. And with this API design thing that I've been promoting, I want to see. I need to do more with that. I need to show more people how to do that. So I'm not sure I'm looking so much at new features. I think with streams and lambdas, that there's so much more possibility to write different sorts of code. We can look at a whole bunch of API designs that return sets and arrays and things like that. Think about turning them into a stream. Think about different ways of using the streams. Yeah.
What did you learn when you were in the hallway track, the most important track at every conference? What did you learn with talking to other people here?
Yeah, well, it's certainly important to me because I'm independent, so I don't work for Sonotype anymore. So it's good for me because obviously I'm always looking for, hey, can somebody buy me and hire me? That'd be cool. But it's so nice to catch up with people. And one of the things that I've been doing, and one of the things we've been talking here, is trying to see whether we can start to build some AI Java workshops or even unconferences, because we know that lots of Java developers need to learn about AI. There are a lot of AI tools out there. And so what I've been talking to people is that can we bring that together? Not so much as a conference, but more maybe as an unconference or something, and get a bunch of the AI vendors, all the different tools guys to come along and share, and invite Java developers to come and meet these people and learn what's going on. Because AI is a different beast, and Java developers, like everybody else, have got to learn how to use it, and it's moving very fast. So for me, the most exciting bit has been just how willing people are to entertain the idea of doing something where we bring the vendors and the experts and the developers together to share knowledge.
How do you look at this AI evolution? Are you scared or are you fascinated? What's your feeling?
So I've been writing a lot about AI from legislative point of view, because there's a lot of legislation happening. There's lots of legislation in the cybercrime side as well, which is I'm very interested in. So from an AI point of view, generally I'm not skeptical in general, but I am skeptical of all the people claiming that using LLMs to generate code is an easy thing. And I really don't believe that. There are certainly people coming up with AI tools that can generate code, but they're not LLMs. And so I think there's a bit of a hype, but I use LLMs all the time. I mean, for almost everything. But in terms of generating code, they're not my choice because I spend too much time debugging. When and if somebody can get an AI to reason properly, not statistically reasoning, then it'll be a game changer. That may happen soon, that may not. In the meantime, I look at AI as being an enabler for everybody, but it's one of those things I'd say, as a developer, people say, AI is going to get rid of your job. But it's like, no, that's never going to happen. What is very likely to happen is that the developer knows how to use AI tools. And that doesn't mean just generating code. That's like understanding code or teaching you about particular new features, or using the AI as a helper. That makes you more powerful, and that will get you a job. And that could easily put somebody who's not that skilled out. So I think that's what I see. So there is a disruptive thing going on here. It's going to be interesting this time next year, when we're here next year, how much has changed and how much is evaporated.
And you focus also a lot on security. So what could go wrong with security-wise if you generate code? A lot.
It's unfathomable, right? So, what could go wrong? The code itself is almost all the code that's generated comes from the training data, and the training data is public data. So what you're getting is effectively the average of the public code out there. And you've got to remember that LLMs don't look at code as code. They have no understanding of code. It's just text. So actually, it's how good the doc is that goes along with the code for it to work out what the code is going to be. So poor doc or old doc can get the LLMs confused and can generate code that won't compile. That's quite common. And then now we're talking about looking at the world where we have agents that generate code. So apart from my skepticism about how often that will actually work, think about the power you're giving an agent. If you say, oh, I want something posted on Twitter, and you say to an agent, go figure out how to do it, and it's got the power to learn how to do that for sure, but then generate the code and run it, that's very powerful. And if you give the bad guys getting their hands on that, or you just make a mess of it, you've just given this thing autonomy over you. It's power over you. It's just really scary. So don't do that.
So we can agree you're a little bit scary too.
It is very scary. Lots of people are into the hype of this. I've done 2 talks last week, which was about how AI can be weaponized and how AI is used against us. And one of those was about how the bad guys use AI to weaponize your code. So there's an enormous amount of possibility for the bad guys. And because we're learning, we're behind them, and they are very expert at this stuff. So we are entering a new world where, for a period of time, we're going to be less security capable than we were. Scary.
A bit scary message to conclude, but something we need to keep in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thanks for your time, thanks for the interview, and thanks for the talk. Have fun here.
Thank you.